is his compass. The ring is how he gets through the hurricane. That's why he needs it back. That's all.
You ever writing a book at school and it just goes something like, "Hey, what you working on?"
Hi. Finishing the essay for Mr. Smith's class.
Really? Why was it so long?
It's almost done.
I saw like a lot of breaks in there too.
I just connect all of my points later.
Okay.
Brightness down, brightness down, brightness.
And then at like a coffee shop, it goes something like,
I wish someone would ask me what I'm working on.
Random thought, but the one difference I really notice between the works of amateur writers and professional writers is the amount of times two characters having a conversation will use each other's names. Because in real life, like, you don't actually use people's names that often unless you are talking about them or trying to call their attention to something. That's why it's so easy to meet someone new and completely forget their name and still have conversations with them, still be around them for a long time, because they will almost never use their name except if it's to introduce themselves or if somebody's calling them. And so when I read two characters have a conversation and they just keep mentioning each other's names over and over for like no reason as some sort of punctuation, it just feels very unrealistic. And so if you can reduce the amount of times that you do that in your own writing, it will just make it a lot more realistic.
Me down to the riptide, taking away the... Hey baby, how are you?
Okay, so a package came today and I know exactly what it is. So I'm so excited. I don't think I want to open it.
Fishing up to the tallest view from your place on the second floor.
Oh my.
Shunned it out to an empty house. Was it just like you had before? Savior pulled from an open mouth. Did you want to be something more?
Can you see my name? This is not okay.
This is the eye of the hurricane. This is the only way I can protect my legacy. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait.
Now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair. They compared their licenses. He said, I'm not a donor, but I'd give you my heart if you needed it.
Oops, I started a new work in progress again, but this time I got it on video so that you guys can see my process. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sheridan. I'm a writer here on TikTok, and I am currently querying my debut fantasy novel, but apparently as of today, we are also working on something new. For the time being, I'm calling this project Canvas because I don't have a working title yet. My very first step, outside of the 10-minute plotting sessions that you've seen me do on my mirror, speed run on Pinterest and just save everything that catches my eye. I spend another 15 minutes working on a playlist, which you'll see in a second. And after that, I try my best to pick out a notebook, but believe it or not, I actually don't have that many, and I didn't love any of the vibes today. So it came down to the pink and the green, but I already kind of know what I want to use the pink one for, so I ended up having to go with the green one. Then take another 15 minutes and scratch down every single thing that I've thought of. Realize that I forgot my laptop in the car. Make sure that all the things I've been putting in my notes app are actually syncing to the cloud. Then pasting the notes into Scrivener and realizing that it equals about 4,000 words already. I really don't want to hear it. And then I can't stress enough, I just start. This is my face after a shitty 300 word zero draft of the first chapter. That's a of the second chapter. This is me freaking out at the third chapter. and then finishing the third. Things are getting spicy in chapter 4. But then we finished chapter 4 and kind of also finished 5 and 6 at the same time. I don't know how to explain it either. And then things took a turn for the worse in 7 and 8. But by the end of the day, I was feeling very, very good about it. We hit 10,000 words on the document, and I got a solid 0 draft of the first, I would say the first draft. Finished it off with some dinner and Criminal Minds, and I am going to bed. Thank you guys for watching. I love you so much, and I can't wait to check in with you soon.
Hi, I'm Aline. I'm a 20-something trying to make it as a writer here in New York City, and maybe you've caught one of these videos, or 2, or 3, or none, but I have a series called POV, You're Writing a Novel, but this time we're finishing it. So I haven't made a video in a while because my deadline was my 26th birthday, and that day came and went, and I had not finished. I definitely think this might have triggered my fight or flight or something, because suddenly I wasn't even sure if I wanted to continue sharing this online anymore. Time kept passing and I continued writing, and suddenly it was holiday time in New York and my draft wasn't done. Instead, I was taking one big fat hot chocolate to go and headed west back home where I started this project like 3 years ago, which funnily enough was actually kind of grounding. And I found myself waking up early mornings while the house was still quiet, and I wrote about like 9,000-10,000 words while I was home in Montana. It really allowed me to go back to New York with a clearer mind, even as I immediately started work back at the coffee shop. Gotta pay those bills. And you know, it's not a particularly glamorous time to be working in coffee. This is the slow season that we're in, and the tips aren't great. I had to work New Year's Day, but still, I woke up on January 2nd with the day off, and I just knew. I knew it was the day that I was gonna finish this thing. I waved goodbye to my cat, and I headed to my local branch of the New York Public Library. If you get there right at opening before everybody else gets there, it is so peaceful and so lovely. There is something about the click-clack of a library keyboard, and they have a timer on the computer, so it really actually helps focus you. So I wanted to start my day off there and then head to a secondary location where I treated myself to a little breakfast, a little coffee, and really tinkered away at this ending. This ending has been giving me trouble. It's the reason why it's taken me a couple extra days, was because I actually had to throw out my original idea because I realized it was no longer working with the direction my plot had taken. But once I found it, I found it. Finally, I've unlocked something that I think is really good, and lo and behold, I finally got to write those words. End of book 1. I ran home to actually read it aloud to my sister because it doesn't feel real until I've told my sister, and she thought it was just as good as I did. No, it's so good. It literally all builds so well. We celebrated by going to Wonka with Timmy Tim. It ended up being kind of a quiet evening. I finished it off by getting in the kitchen and making a simple meal of mac and cheese and roasted broccoli while we watched the finale of Dairy Girls, which is by far one of my favorite shows of all time. And yeah, thank you guys so much for following along. I can't believe I'm saying this, but video's wrapping up and the book is wrapping up with 103,000 words.